Hello and welcome to Getaway Day Episode 9. I'm Gautam and joined by Mason as always. I am back, and before we get started, again, a big thanks to Matthew for filling in admirably last week. You guys did a great job, and we're looking forward to doing some three-man pods in the future.
So I would like to
This week,
point out, you say here that joined by Mason as always. I'm fairly certain that I'm the Cal Ripken of this show so far.
that is true,
So
but when I'm here, I'm joined by you, so that's still true.
that's fair. Also, you're better at this than me, so there's also that. But,
All right, so today we're going to be doing this week in baseball. We're going to be doing a stat of the week, and then we're going to have a little fun with some 6 degrees of Babe Ruth and finish up with a top five. So I'm back from vacation, recharged, ready to go. How are you doing today, Mason?
I'm not too bad. I have been without air conditioning for a week, and it finally got fixed today. So I'm comfortable. I'm not sweating right now for the first time in what seems like forever. So we're good to go. And then I'll be on
Excellent.
vacation here in a couple of weeks myself. So just got a lot to look forward to here. So now I'm excited to talk baseball.
Great. So my understanding is that you have an update on the relocation situation.
I do.
Relo-
So last week, for those of you that listened in to our episode with Matthew, and if you haven't, it's also on our Twitch channel here. You can find it on our YouTube. There's links to it on our Facebook and our Twitter. Check it out. I think it is hands down one of our best episodes yet. To be fair, we're only at 9, so it's automatically top 10, but it's still one of the best. And we did an entire episode basically on relocation and expansion of franchises to be what our ideal league is. And Matthew and I both said that Portland and Vegas should be the two places that the A's should look at moving to if they were going to relocate, which was an assumption in our thing. And today, the A's owner has announced he is going on a quote-unquote fact-finding mission to Portland and Vegas to determine their viability of of supporting the franchise. Now, a rich guy going on a fact-finding mission to two of the most popular cities in the U.S. kind of just sounds like he's going on vacation. They kind of already know everything they need to know. But here we are. The A's may be moving to Vegas or Portland.
Yeah, I wish him the best of luck, and that kind of makes me think of the show Silicon Valley. One of the characters, Erlich Bachman, he goes out into the desert and does some very deep thinking to come up with some amazing startup ideas. So hopefully the A's owner finds what he's looking for.
With
All
less
right. So
drugs.
yes,
Yeah.
that too. Another thing that really caught my eye over the weekend is the Mets lineup. The Mets are probably the most injured team I've ever remember seeing. I think all three of their outfielders, Nimmo, Conforto, and who's the other one?
Nemo, Conforto, Dom, I guess.
He's still there, but I think there's another.
Kevin Pillar.
Yeah, Kevin Pillar, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also Albert Almora, Jeff McNeil, Pete Alonso. They're all out.
Bert was
So
hurt.
I'll just read you their lineup from Friday. They had Jonathan VR, Francisco Lindor, the only guy from the opening day lineup that's actually in this lineup, Cameron Maybin, a guy that was on the Cubs AAA for this entire season. He hasn't played in the majors, and he's hitting third for a major league lineup. Dom Smith,
Was Dom not on the opening day?
he didn't start opening day,
Oh, okay, that's what you meant.
but he's a regular starter. So yeah,
Yeah.
Dom Smith, Tomas Nido, their backup catcher normally in this game, uh, Jose Peraza, Brandon Drury, some guy named John Ashui Fargus. My apologies to Mr. Fargus if I mispronounced his name, but
But that's
he's their
kind of
starting
on
center
you.
fielder. And then Marcus Stroman. So this lineup, I don't even understand how this happened, but that's some really bad luck for the Mets.
I mean, when you said they were the most injured team you could think of, I started thinking of the is it the 19 or the 20 Yankees? And
Oh yeah.
but I guess the difference with the Yankees and the Mets is the Yankees like backups and backups for backups are like still good.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess
That's
that's
a
the
good
blunt way
point.
to say it.
They were super deep, and all those backups ended up being really good in the time that they filled in for the regulars. This lineup actually won the game on Friday, so
Who
that
did
was
they play
cool.
on Friday?
I believe they played Miami.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cause the City Connect jerseys were debuted against them, weren't they? Oh,
I didn't actually watch the game. I just saw the lineup.
those City Connect uniforms though. They're kind of fire.
Those are pretty cool.
I would buy a Jazz City Connect jersey if I had unlimited money.
So moving on to another thing that I was thinking about, and that was just the beginning of the season. Or the standings are a muddled mess. No team this year, especially, was really jumping out in either a really good way or a really bad way. All the teams are kind of bunched together for the most part. But now there have been quite a few teams that are on big winning streaks or big losing streaks. So the Rays have won 11 in a row after they won today. The Yankees have won 6 in a row. Padres 9 wins in a row. Dodgers 7 wins in a row. Those are all teams that are really were expected to be really good for this season, and now they're kind of showing that, yeah, they're really the top dogs. And on the other hand, Arizona's lost 8 in a row. Seattle's lost 6 in a row. That's kind of what we expected.
Yeah, and like you said, all the teams that are having these big swings one way or the other are the teams that we expected to either be dominant or be god awful before the season. So
Right.
you don't see any NL Central teams in here. Not surprising. I mean, big series this weekend, Cardinals Cubs, something that we're both highly invested in. And it lived up to the billing as being a really good series. All the games were close.
Great series.
I am really sad after last night. That was depressing. The Cubs did not have a runner on second base the entire game until the 10th inning second base rule. And then they won. To be fair, they won on a home run. So like they and it wasn't a cheap home run either. It was a curveball that he got under a curveball, but he had to get down to get under that curveball. It was in the zone, or it might have been a slider. It was in the zone, but it was just in the zone. And he just ripped that thing.
Yep.
It was
for sure. And one other thing about that game is that was some of the worst umpiring on both sides that I've ever seen.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
I checked the umpire scorecard. There's a guy that does that on Twitter. He missed 21 calls in the strike zone. It was terrible.
Yeah, 30-year-old rookie umpire Eric Bacchus.
So that's part of the reason why there was very little offense happening in the early part of that game before it got to extra innings, of course.
He was calling strikes. Well, so it went both ways. But mostly he was calling strikes about a good 4 or 5 inches outside to right-handed hitters. 4 to 5 inches.
Yeah, David Ross got thrown out pretty early in the game, and that didn't change what happened.
And I can't believe Schulte didn't get ejected. Or Nolan, because Nolan got the strikeout. I don't know. I don't think the strikeout pitch necessarily, but during the strikeout of Arenado with the bases loaded, there were 2 calls that were pretty substantially outside that were called strikes. And then he struck out, and then there were no runs scored until extras. Although Adam Wainwright still dominated in that game.
Well, that's why he dominated. Well, he got an extra 5 inches off the plate.
True, but I personally think that Adam Wainwright is still pitching way above what everyone thought he would this year. Because you can't even say that game was necessarily a fluke, though. Looking at his other games, he's just been really good, and I noticed that and just wanted to give him some love. So.
Yep, I mean, I agree, though. That was a really exciting series, especially for early season. It kind of felt like it was more like a late season game, and that was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Hopefully the Cardinals can get a lefty that actually, you know, doesn't give up 300 runs and then eventually goes on the IL with a blister on his big toe on his left foot or something, I think is what it was. He's still out, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
He's
what,
getting he's
20
getting the
days?
Brett Keithel treatment,
Yeah, no kidding. But
the Phantom IL.
it's like 20 days so far or something like that. It's been a lot.
One more quick note that I'll add from this week: Scott Kasmir made it back to the big leagues after 5 years away from the game, um, which is pretty amazing because he's 37 now, and he actually pitched pretty well. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 1 run against the Dodgers, so that's a cool comeback story, especially for someone that old.
Yeah. And then the last one I wanted to throw out there, I don't know if it was before we recorded this, so it's technically still this week in baseball and doesn't go into next week. Vladdy. 2 home run game today in the day game. Absolutely dominating. It looks like they're still down in Dunedin right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be people arguing that there's the Dunedin effect and it's going to be worse than the Coors Field effect, But and then as soon as they move up to Buffalo or Toronto or wherever they end up, maybe the home runs stop, but dude is on a tear. He is every bit of the superstar that he was expected to be. I'm trying to figure out how soon I buy a jersey so that I've got my Tatis and my Vladdy.
Yeah, you got to get your juniors in a row there.
I do. I may even get a Lourdes is a junior, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I may just go ahead and get a Lourdes as well.
His dad was a pro baseball player, but his brother was.
His brother is.
Yeah.
And his brother is also playing really well recently. But
and Lourdes is starting to get it going to himself.
Yeah. But we're not giving Yuli any love today, so.
Okay. Now we're going to move on to the stat of the week. This one's going to tie together a couple of different ones that we've talked about the last few weeks. So this one is xwOBA, with the X standing for expected. So basically it ties together the concepts of xwOBA, which to rehash that, it's giving credit for the different types of ways you can get on base. And that's a better way to evaluate how a player does than just batting average or on base percentage or something like that. And then the batted ball profile, so the launch angle and the exit velocity. So it takes a hitter's launch angle and exit velocity and looks back at all the data going back to 2015 when StatCast started, and it assigns probabilities based on how that ball is hit, the different ways that they could, or different probabilities for different types of hits. So if a guy hits a ball at 25 miles per hour and at 100 miles per hour, we'll say that that's a 10% chance of getting a single.
25 degrees and 100 miles an hour.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
25 degrees, 100 miles per hour.
I was going to say, I've only seen the ball hit the bat twice, like 4 different times ever, so just need to clarify.
Yeah. Sorry. So that would create a probability of getting a single of some percentage, and then a double of some other percentage, and a triple and a home run, and so on. So that in that way, you can have an expected weighted on base average. So instead of using these fixed scaling values, you use probabilities based on the batted ball data. So I have a couple examples here. The Reds outfielders, Nick Castellanos and Jesse Winker, they've been two of the best hitters, not just on the Reds. They are the two best hitters on the Reds, but in the entire league. So Castellanos so far this season has a 459 WOBA, which is second in the entire league, and Jesse Winker has a 463 WOBA, which is best in the entire league. When you look at their expected WOBAs, though, they're slightly lower. So Castellanos xwOBA is 427 and Winker's is 409. So what that tells us is that they may have been the beneficiaries of a little bit of luck, a little bit of batted ball help.
It's all luck. That's a terrible difference of what, 0.03?
Yeah, so it's not much. So that's a good way to check to see, is the player deserving of what they've done so far. But I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make with the expected stats is that they kind of confuse it with being what's going to happen in the future. So all the expected stats are designed in a way that they're descriptive, so they're telling us about what has happened, but not necessarily what's going to happen. So it tells us nothing about how Winker is going to perform in the future.
Okay.
And then, yeah, last thing is that really interesting that Castellanos and Winker, they've had such similar production and in really similar ways. So they both are walking in the 8% range and striking out about 20% of the time. Winker has 13 home runs. Castellanos has 12. So they've been really amazing. And the rest of the Reds are pretty trash, to be honest. And they're the only things keeping them slightly afloat at this point.
And Castellanos is a lefty and Winker is a righty, isn't he?
Other way around.
Okay, so Castellanos is a righty, Winker's a lefty?
Correct.
Did they come back-to-back in the lineup?
Yeah, so Winker leads off and then Castellanos bats.
Yeah, that would be a terrifying spot of the order to be.
Seriously, and then once you're past that,
they're
you're
the
like,
same guy on opposite sides of the plate.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're bringing in a reliever, you're like, do I bring in the lefty? Do I bring in the righty? Who knows?
And that leads to another question. So if the Reds keep sort of falling out of it, they started really hot. Now they're sort of falling back down. Do you trade Castellanos? He's got a couple years left on his deal, and he should be able to bring back a monster haul.
Well, how many years left does Winker have of ARB?
Well, Winker's still in ARB, so there's really no rush to trade him because he can be part of their core.
That's true, but I guess it depends on how far out you think your core is going to be. Because Jonathan India just came up, and he's really their biggest position player prospect I can think of that's like close. They've got
a couple of pitchers coming.
Yeah, they've got a couple pitchers in Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, and there's
those
one
are
other
the big guys.
Yeah, but I think a lot of their position players that are pretty young, like low A, high A. So I don't know. I guess it depends on how far out they think their core is and what their core is. If it's a pitching core with Jesse Winker and Tyler Stevenson, yeah, then keep Winker and maybe move Castellanos for someone who's maybe 2 years out, 3 years out. But otherwise, I would trade Winker, get a bigger haul for him because he's cheaper. So.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
They could trade them both and try and get the number 1 overall pick next year.
I don't think they can compete with the Rockies and the Pirates for being the worst.
They can try.
They could. I just don't think that's the Reds' style, though.
Dude, bring back Pete Rose as manager. He'll just start betting on the games.
Bring back Jay Bruce to play the outfield after they trade those guys.
Hey, I can see it. Is Senzel still their third outfielder? Or is he finally shifted to the infield?
He's been playing more infield recently because Moose has been injured. And also Votto is still injured, so.
Yeah. I think ideally, this is not even sort of what our topic was supposed to be, but I think ideally what I would do with that lineup is I would move Eugenio back to third. I would put India in at short because he's a shortstop, right?
He can play shortstop, yeah.
And then put Senzel at second, which is his natural position. And then Votto, you have those two guys in the outfield. Get everyone to a more natural feeling position for him, and then maybe that actually helps Senzel's bat.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I've always felt like individually the players are like pretty good, but just the way the Reds are built, it's really strange and doesn't seem like it works very well.
Yeah, I just think they're asking people to do things they're not comfortable with, and then it becomes a negative on the other part of their game.
Yeah, so. That's Winker and Castellanos. So they're both outfielders, but they're both terrible defenders.
They're DHs.
Yeah, they're basically DHs playing the outfield. So
yeah. So.
All right. We ready to move on to the 6 degrees of Babe Ruth?
Let's do it. So, for those of you who may or may not be familiar with the play/movie 6 Degrees of Separation, or be familiar with the popular game in pop culture, the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. So, it's a game basically where everyone in Hollywood can be linked to the actor Kevin Bacon through 6 films, or like 6 actors. And so, let's see, I'm trying to think of what I just watched something. So last night I was watching X-Men First Class. Kevin Bacon is in that movie as the main villain, and James McAvoy is also in that movie. So his Bacon number would be 1 because he's been in a movie directly with Kevin Bacon. Whereas, let's say, Liam Hemsworth, who was in the Hunger Games trilogy, which is also a trilogy that Jennifer Lawrence was in. Well, she was in X-Men First Class. So based on that logic, his Bacon number would be 2. So we can do the same thing with baseball. And especially now that Baseball Savant has included this teammate tracker here. So we were curious to see how many degrees of separation it would take for us to find a link between a guy like Keston Hiura here with the GOAT, Babe Ruth. And so that's kind of what our plan is. And just an example of one for getting a guy to Babe Ruth, Derek Jeter. So actually it was, So Derek Jeter played with Don Mattingly, who played with Bobby Mercer, who played with Mickey Mantle, who played with Joe DiMaggio, who played with Lou Gehrig, who played with Babe Ruth. So I think I actually counted Jeter on my hand too. But so 6 degrees for Derek Jeter to Babe Ruth. Fun fact for anyone that saw my tweet today, Derek Jeter was actually in the movie The Other Guys, and Will Lyman was in Mystic River with Kevin Bacon. So Derek Jeter actually has a Bacon number of 2, and his baseball Ruth number is 6. But Babe Ruth has a Bacon number of 3. So he was in Pride of the Yankees with Dane Clark, who was in Last Rites with Paul Dooley, who was in Telling Lies with Kevin Bacon, who was with Lyman in Mystic River, and then with Derek Jeter and the other guys. So there's actually a Ruth to Derek Jeter number of 5 through movies, and for 6 through baseball. Fun fact. That being said, let's try and figure out how to get from Keston Hiura to Babe Ruth. So whenever you get to them playing with guys for more than a season, these bubbles get bigger and then they start including names. So it's going to be a lot easier. But who do you think would be our best move to get from...
My initial thought was to get Ryan Braun because he's played for a super long time. I think he's right in the middle, actually. That one, yeah.
Okay. So Ryan Braun. Yeah, here we go. Now we start getting some names on guys that they played with for longer. So do you want to write these down so that we can track how many we take?
Yeah, sure, right. I can do that.
So then Ryan Braun. Ideally, we want to get as old as we can here. Craig Counsell
Yeah,
as a
so like
player is on here, 5
State
seasons.
Council is decent, but I'm not sure how many teams he played on a few teams. I know that.
Yeah. Well,
That
and the other thing is sometimes the guys that they've only played with for one season would be the ideal guys
that's true.
because
That's a good point.
they would be
The
potentially
old
the
dude.
rookie season,
Yeah. So who played with Ryan Braun in his rookie season, basically?
which was 2007.
That sounds about right. It might have been Craig Counsell, to be honest. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
I was gonna say when did um oh shoot, why can't when did Prince debut?
um, that's a good question.
Oh,
Around the same time, relatively.
okay, we have Jeff Suppan here, which could get us to some really old Cardinals.
Let's go with uh, let's go with Craig Counsell. That should get us back a little bit.
All right. So we're going with Craig Counsell, and he has a lot of options here. He goes back to Gary Sheffield. We got Steve Finley, Mark Grace, um, Brian Anderson, Cliff Floyd, John Axford. Gotta love him. And then anyone in the chat that has any ideas, please feel free to throw them out there. Let's see, Jay Bell.
The one issue is like finding guys, right?
Yeah, especially if it's going to be these guys down here that are like one season guys.
Yeah.
Ryan Dempster for 2 seasons, Felipe Lopez, Steve Reed, Walt Weiss. Larry Walker. They could get us back in the mid 90s, which could
Because we're already kind of already in the
mid
early
90s.
90s. Yeah.
Raul Mondesi.
Yeah, I think he might have played in the 80s.
Do we want to try that as our move?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, Raul Mondesi, who gets us back to guys like Piazza. See what other names here do I actually? Who is that? It's covered up. Ismael Valdez. We get Delino DeShields Senior, who could actually get us back into the Cardinals quite a bit. I know that for a fact. So that wouldn't be a terrible move. We got Roy Halladay, Pascual Coco, Curtis Pride, Brian Bowles, Greg Gagne, Andy Pettit. Andy Pettit, that would just get us straight to the
Perfect.
Yankees.
That'll get us to the Yankees. Let's go.
All right, Andy Pettit. Oh, now we've got all sorts of moves. He played with 397 different teammates. Good Lord. Okay, so now I got to start thinking old. Brett Gardner's clearly not it.
Brett Gardner probably played with Babe Ruth himself.
Probably. Let's see. We got Joe Girardi. We got, let's see, that's wrong direction there. Craig Biggio.
Roger Clemens gets us back into the 80s.
I don't even see Roger Clemens.
He's a big green one.
Oh, shoot. Hey, Phil Hughes. My guy. Yeah, we could try Clemens. We could try... Let's see who some of these guys are. John Ryan Murphy. Not a guy I would have...
Old catcher.
Not exactly a guy I would have connected to Andy Pettit. Hey, we got Melky, the Milkman. Eddie
Wait, did
Arnall.
Andy Pettitte play for other teams?
Chili Davis gets us to the early 80s.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this isn't showing up my little bubbles for you, is it? It is unfortunate. David Justice. I think that's the wrong direction, though. Oh, we do have Dwight Gooden here.
Dwight Gooden, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like at this point we might want to just take a shot. We got Mike Messina, Darryl Strawberry, Alfonso Soriano, Tino Martinez, David Cone. How far back would David Cone get us?
That's still the 90. So I say Roger Clemens might be the best bet because that gets us to the 80s, but he also gets us like kind of away from the Yankees in a way.
Yeah, and so does Chili Davis, but I think Chili Davis gets us farther back time-wise.
Dad play baseball? There's a Mike Gallo on here.
I don't know. Maybe. Kevin Youkilis. Raul Ibanez. It's too new, isn't it?
Yeah. This is tough.
I know. Would help if I knew more old Yankees. Oh, Danny Tartable. Danny Tartable gets us back into the mid-80s.
All right, let's go with that then.
Oh, if it'll let me click. Come on, I don't want... There we go. No, not Wilson Delgado. What? Where'd it go? Well, shoot.
You can search it.
Got it. Nope, I didn't. Danny Tartable. Okay. So now we're getting back to guys like Wade Boggs, George Brett, but he's not a Yankee. Bo Jackson, so that could get us back only as far as 86. We do have Don Mattingly, which Donnie Baseball played in the 70s, right?
Oh, we can get to Ricky Henderson.
Wait, we
He's
can?
on the left. Ricky Henderson, one season teammate.
Roughly where am I looking?
A little bit lower. He's right on the outside.
Okay. Holy cow.
I know he has a lot of teammates.
724. All right, so then that brings into the question, who in the world do we go to from there? We have Dave McKay as a pitcher, is an option here now. John Olerud, Robin Ventura, Jay Buhner is going the wrong direction. Ron Guidry.
I think that's the wrong way too.
Is it?
You gotta find some old Yankees.
Oh, I thought Terry Steinbach. Although he played with him for 7 seasons, so doesn't really get us back very much, probably. Oh, wait. Dude, I just found Pat Mahomes.
Nice.
2 seasons. Phil Niekro?
Oh, that goes way back, I think.
Yeah, it does. I think Phil Niekro goes back to early 70s, if not 60s.
I think you're right about that.
I think 68, maybe? Oh, Tommy John. Although Tommy John was 70s, right?
Tommy John. I see Tito Francona on here too.
He wasn't that old though. He was like mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Let's see. Craig Paquette gets us back to the 2000s. Tony Gwynn, Claudel Washington. Dave Winfield, maybe? Where could Dave Winfield take us? Just watch me look around these outsides and just find, like, Hannes Wagner.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, clearly we've gone too far. Mike Hampton. John Mabry. There's Pedro. Derek Lee. It's the wrong way. Lance McCullers Sr. Actually, I can't even confirm that senior. Yeah. Oh, we're on Ricky Henderson. Of course it is.
Wait, we're not on Phil Necro?
Oh, wait. Was I supposed to go to Phil Necro?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, my bad. That would certainly explain why I'm... Okay. Now I'm on Phil Necro. Orlando Cepeda. We got Joe Torre. Joe Torre got us to the 60s. Eddie Matthews gets us to the 50s.
Okay, yeah, let's go with that.
Now I gotta find where he just went. Also, Joe Necro gets us a lot older, too. Okay, so now we're on Eddie Matthews. Ooh, he can get us to Red Shandist. Which Red Shandist gets us to Stan Musial. And then Musial, we just have to get sideways to Mantle. And then we could get DiMaggio. And then we get Babe Ruth.
Okay, it looks like you've plotted it out.
But is there a faster way to do it, is the question. Well, here's Hank Aaron and Warren Spahn just right in the middle.
Is this on Eddie Matthews' page?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go that way then. Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron? All right. So then Hank Aaron could get us to... I'm trying to think of who some of the old Yankees pitchers were. Bob Uecker.
We got Dusty Baker on there.
I don't even know if that's the correct or the incorrect direction.
That is the same era. Sort of.
Ed Sprague. Would Whitey Ford have been...
Yeah, he was on the Yankees.
Before or after Hank? I haven't found him yet. I'm just trying to think of roughly what time period he would be and if I could find him.
Yeah, he's earlier, I think. Slightly earlier than Hank Aaron. Or I think they played at the same time, though.
Frank Thomas.
That's definitely the wrong direction.
So you're saying Bob Uecker would be a better direction to go?
Yep.
Rob Suler, Don Schwal, Joe Horner, Phil Roof. What's this one? I mean, we could always course correct and go to Red Shandyst if we need to. Wait, I think I just found Tom. No, that's Tom Murphy. I thought I saw Law. I certainly think that we could make some suggestions to MLB on how to make this a little bit more user-friendly for playing games. Robin Yount. Casey Wise. Davey Johnson. Ed Sprague. I think I've gone all the way around that circle. I don't know, dude. I'm kind of stuck. The only way that I can probably personally get there is by going through Shandyst.
Okay, we can try that.
Dude, Hank Aaron played with Tom House. All right, so Shandyst. All right, so Shandyst gets us back to. We could go back to Enos Slaughter. We could get to. I gotta think of who's older. Ernie Broglio. Bill White. Was he a Yankee?
Not familiar with Bill White.
Let's see. Here's Kurt Flood. Thinking Enos Slaughter might be a good move.
Yeah, that's a good one. He played like in the 40s, I think.
Yeah, so Stan Musial debuted in 40. 42 or 3. Okay, there's Johnny Mize, Pepper Martin. Pepper Martin gets us old.
So you went through Enos Slaughter?
Yeah. There's got to be like a really obvious one here.
Yogi Berra right there in the middle.
Where in the world are you looking, homie? Oh,
right in the middle in purple.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's obviously going to be our best. Because then there's Mantle. Can we get straight to Joe DiMaggio? Yes, we can. Can we get further back than DiMaggio? Can we get to a potential Lou Gehrig? So I think Babe Ruth retired before Lou Gehrig did, right?
I think so, yeah.
How many degrees are we at so far? Because we've taken way too many moves compared to what the answer actually is.
We're on the 12th move.
Yeah, so we're definitely poking some holes here in the whole 6 degrees theory. Bill Dickey, Steve Hamilton. don't know. I'm kind of thinking that without sitting here and looking at every single one of these tiny ass little circles, going straight to DiMaggio might be the best move. Because then we know there's a straight path from there.
Go for it.
All right, now I just got to find where DiMaggio's circle went. All right, there's DiMaggio. And then now we are looking for Lou Gehrig, who's right here. And then we get to Babe Ruth right in the center. So I believe that is 15 moves.
Yes.
All right.
So you went DiMaggio to who?
DiMaggio to Lou Gehrig, straight to Babe Ruth.
All right. Let me just recap here.
All right.
So we started at Keston Hiura through Ryan Braun, Craig Counsell, Raul Mondesi, Andy Pettit, Danny Tartabull, Ricky Henderson, Phil Niekro, Eddie Matthews, Red Shandist, Eno Slaughter, Yogi Berra, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth. We did it.
15 moves. All right, so I certainly think that if we went back and did this again later and looked for room to improve, I just realized my little hidden image kind of moved on me. That's unfortunate. I was trying to see if anyone would notice that, but that just looked really out of place. I certainly think that if we were to improve that, it would be in like the recent, like 30 years. That's where we could get most of that improvement. Because I think once we got to Counsell, it took us a while to figure out how we were going to get back to like the 80s. And then once we got to the 80s, then we got to the 50s pretty quick. And then the 20s isn't too hard from there because everyone played for 3,000 years with 7 teams.
Yeah, that's a good point because the guys back in the old days, they just stuck on their old same team. So they had like teammates that they were with for so many years. And now everyone's changing teams all the time.
Yeah. But so I don't know. Maybe here after this is up on YouTube, if anyone takes the time to figure out the fastest way to get from Keston Hiura to Babe Ruth, go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you figure that out, and then we'll show it on a future episode and just see what the fastest way to get to Ruth from Hiura is. Actually, that could be a fun game, just an ongoing thing. A weekly challenge. Or monthly challenge or something.
Yeah.
We're onto something. We're onto something here, dude. But yeah, so if anyone wants to get to this teammate tracker, just go to baseballsavant.mlb.com and then it's under visuals here. And then you should be able to select... I thought it was on here. Yeah. Scroll down to the bottom, and teammates should be right here. And then you can pick any player you want. Type in the last name first, or else you're not going to get it to come up. That's something I learned the hard way. It's really, really fun if you just want to pick some random guy and just see who he played with. Gowie, who's the most random guy you can think of? Don't say Edwin Jackson. Although, actually, now I want to look up Edwin Jackson, so we're going to go with that.
He's had quite a few teammates. He's like the main man of the modern era.
Is it really not gonna?
You have to type their last name first.
Well, I did, and then it came up with this, so I tried to type in Edwin to make it smaller, and it just quit giving me names.
So many teammates.
871 teammates.
Another guy that probably has a ton is Bartolo Colon.
Ooh, that's a good one. Bart, big sexy Cologne.
716.
Which is that the same number that Ricky Henderson had? Or is that slightly less?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so I have a lot of fun playing with Teammate Tracker. We'll certainly have to come up with a slightly more lively way or just get a little bit more knowledgeable if we do this on stream again. There was a lot of dead time. I apologize for that. So if you just listen to this in the background, that probably wasn't the most fun. But I kind of liked this, though. So let's come up with a better way to do this. Or I'll just talk to Baseball Savant and tell them that they need to be better at putting names on all the bubbles so that I don't have to go and do this.
Sounds good.
All
right. And we'll finish up today with another top 5.
Yes. So I was sitting here today and thinking there's a lot of stuff that I love about baseball. And I love some of the kind of hidden, non-sexy parts of the game. I personally love sacrifice bunts. No spit take? What?
Ooh.
Dude, I set you up perfectly for a spit take, and you didn't take the opportunity. I am disappointed in you. No, sack bunts aren't that fun. I just wanted to see what he'd do. But I do like a lot of those non-sexy parts of the game, but that's not the thing, or that's not the case with a lot of people. And so I'm sitting here like, what are the top 5 things that the common fan loves? And it's like traditions. Clearly, traditions are the best. The reasons that people go back to the ball game, the thing about their park, their team, their team's culture that just kind of becomes ingrained in their soul and just becomes a part of who they are. So I decided, let's go ahead and do the top 5 team traditions. So number 5, we have the sausage races with the Brewers. And I specifically chose the sausage races and not the racing presidents, not the Anchorman races in San Diego, or the pierogi races in Pittsburgh, because the sausage races are the original. I would be okay if we called it just sausage races or mascot races in general. That could include going up against Mr. Freeze in Atlanta. I watched a guy beat Mr. Freeze the other day. I'd never seen that before.
With a big head start, I assume.
Well, yeah. It actually wasn't too big of a head start, but it was like a young college athlete or something, so they let him go. But yeah, so the sausage races, they're just a really fun part of the game. I can't think of a single person who doesn't love them. You always pick for your favorite, and then whenever they lose, you're just devastated for the rest of the game. Or at least I am. I don't know about you. But so you like that pick?
Yeah.
All right, number 4. We have the home run train at Minute Maid Park. So for those of you that may not be aware, when the Astros hit a home run at Minute Maid, they have a train up above the Crawford boxes in left field on that really tall wall, and they will basically drive it down the track and blow the train horn. And it's just a really cool thing to watch on TV. And I know a couple people who have been to the park. I've not personally been there yet. Really want to. That is something that just always pops out in my head as like a cool reason to go to the park. There's some other teams that do like other home run celebrations that didn't make this list. I think now at Citizens Bank Park they have the Liberty Bell sign that lights up as if it's ringing, and then they play a bell sound. And then at Citi Field they have the apple that comes up in the batter's eye. But I do think the train is just a little bit more iconic in my eyes. Number 3, we have the church bells after each out of the 9th inning in San Diego. And I think it's a relatively new tradition, like last 25 years or something like that, if I remember right. But we watched 2 games there, and back-to-back nights, or went to one, skipped a night, went to one, and just that has stuck with me ever since we went. And
I don't think it happened, though, because the Padres lost.
Yes, but like just I mean, we toured the stadium and stuff too, so we got a whole bunch of background. And I love the Padres for so many reasons. And then like now, whenever I'm watching games, I listen for that whenever the Padres are winning. And now that they're good, that's happening a lot.
Yeah, Mark Melanson leads the league in saves. So
exactly,
been hearing it a lot this year.
Love the bells. And now we get to two that you could argue are starting to get biased towards the hosts of the show. I don't care. This is my top 5. Number 2, and I gave this one a ding, so for a specific reason. The opening day Clydesdale parade for the Cardinals. So the build up to opening day as a Cardinal fan is, I'm sure, the same it is with every other team, where they've missed going to the park, missed seeing baseball every day that actually is meaningful. You're trying to put the best team on the field every single day, not just get guys some work and then they come out like in spring training, which is cool, but it's not what you're shooting for. But in St. Louis, when you go to opening day, they bring the Clydesdales out. They put all the Hall of Famers and Mustangs and drive them around the warning track, and it's like a 3-hour event almost, and it's just absolutely iconic. They've been doing it for years and years and years and years and years, and it sets the tone for the entire season.
Have you been to Cardinals opening day?
I have not been to opening day. I've been to game 2. But they make a big deal about it on TV even, and televise the whole event, and it's fun. I do want to go at some point, and I will, but I just gotta, COVID has to not be happening, and then I have to get vacation. So it shouldn't be that big a deal. Next year, year after that, maybe. And then number 1, this one, Gowie actually didn't give me any input onto this one. I chose this myself. 7th inning stretch, take me out to the ball game at Wrigley Field. Whether it's the recording of Harry Carey, or it's the fan singing day, or it's a celebrity in the booth, just the atmosphere of being in Wrigley with Harry Carey's voice coming through the loudspeakers, and then just everybody joining in to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" is just outstanding. And I can't even imagine being there in the World Series when Bill Murray was drunk and singing it like Daffy Duck.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
No one's ever going to forget that one.
But yeah, so that actually takes my spot of the best team tradition, and it hurts my heart. The reason the Cardinals didn't get number 1 is because it only happens once a year, and then it happens in the postseason. They do bring the Clydesdales out, but for the most part, it's a once-a-year thing. So with the 7th inning stretch being 81 games, I figured it gets just a little bit extra. So, did I miss any good ones?
Not that I can think of right now. I'm sure I'll think of some other ones later on, but I think it's a good list.
All right. And then if I missed your team's tradition and you think that it should have cracked my top 5, let me know in the comments. I would love the feedback. I am trying to expand my what I like to think is already my vast baseball knowledge. I would like to be the all-knowing, so help me out. So, all right, that's all I got.
All right, cool. That is going to wrap things up for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be on YouTube tomorrow, as always, and we will talk to you next Monday.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good one.